Nigeria.
Yeah, one house.
Can we
Please.
listen, please?
Thank you.
So I've been in the UK for going on to 6 years now, and yeah, I've been trying to get into the industry. It's just been so difficult. You know you have the right skills, but somehow just not good enough. Tried several ways to get in there. Did so many different courses to upgrade my skills, but still the door seems shut. So in my head, I had in my mind that okay, I had to do a master's degree, and I was planning towards doing a master's degree. So I was working on a portfolio for a master's application. My WhatsApp group in Nigeria, my university I finished from, I saw a link, a post as regards what Active Company does, what it's offering. And so I picked up interest and said, let me check what this is about. That was how I managed to connect with Architect Anthony, and I did participate in the event he had in Abuja, Nigeria, where he invited the head of communications for CIT, one James, yeah. And yes, she was there as well. And the picture started to take shape. It was like all the puzzles were coming together slowly. And then when he told me as soon as he go back to the UK, he would connect with me and then we can meet up. As soon as he came back, the next day I was here. We had a conversation, me and him right there. He showed me his projects, what he's done, what he's still doing, and how he has mentored someone else to get in the industry, and all his history in the UK as well, the companies he's worked for, and it was like mind blowing. I was like, wow, okay, am I really here right now? Like, so having a mentor for me was the biggest puzzle, and he was that mentor. He was that person to say, this is how to go about things. And the course started. We started with the first project, second project, and the third project. Now, we had a group of a few guys. I think we had just 3 of us based in the UK. One of the guys in the group already had a job in the UK, but not architecture. I think it was kind of maybe real estate or something. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but he was working in the industry. And so I also connected with him as well to have a chat with him and ask how he managed to go about it. Because, I mean, if you've done something, I want to know how you did it. And so after class, we have our own separate meetings. Me and him, we talk, we exchange ideas. He shows me the stuff he's done, and then he asked me to see what I have done. Like, can I see your work? And you know, when you're still working and you just don't think it's enough. But he was the one that told me, why are you wasting time? Like, what you have is just submit it. Just apply. Just start applying. And I'm like, it's not complete yet. Like, I still have loads to do. Like, so that perfection is, I think it's something that we all have. We want to be perfect. But he told me, like, you don't have to. It's good enough. Go out. And after 1 week, I had not submitted an application. He called me again. I was like, have you done anything? Have you submitted? I'm like, no, I'm still working. It's like, just submit these things. And then I started submitting applications. Wow. I had these projects. So I think I jumped a bit. So all the projects we did in class, where we do critiques and we start shouting at each other, those were part of my UK experience. He became my employer. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
He became my boss, so I had experience in his company as a staff. He was happy to do that for me. I don't know why, but he did it. And it meant that those projects, I go on site, I visit the sites when I can, because I work, I have a family, I've got kids, and so it's always like, I understand how hard it is for everyone here. But whenever I have the time, I make sure I attend the sites, and I began to understand a little bit of the UK industry, how the buildings, the walls and all that stuff, those minute details you can talk about now because you attend these lessons, which was really, really eye-opening. And then I had three projects from him that went, two projects from him that went into my portfolio, UK experience. That was invaluable. And I added my Nigerian projects, what I've been involved in. I added that as well. So I had 5 projects. It looked good. I felt it was okay to go out. I drafted my CV and I pushed it out. The first week I got calls Can you imagine what that feels like? After 6 years. And it didn't take me long to start getting calls. That alone gave me validity. That someone has seen my work and felt, this is good, let's talk to this guy. There were loads of rejections. If I open my Indeed, you would just see them, loads of rejections.
Unfortunately. In fact, sorry, me, when I get such email from the people I think, so the word I look for is unfortunate. I just can't scan, unfortunate, okay, delete. Some I will reply. The one that I really wanted to, I'll reply. I mean, what did I miss? If you will reply and say this or that, thank you very much for that reminder.
Sorry, I'm digressing a little bit, but I hope it's probably an introduction, but I'm just.
It's okay, go on.
So, there were lots of rejections, and at some point I began to doubt myself again. Was this good enough? And mind you, the first company that asked me to come over for an interview, we did an online, like a Teams interview, 2 guys and myself, and we had a chat. I showed them my portfolio and all that. They were like, this is the best portfolio I've ever seen, like, submitted to my company. This is actually the best. We're going to give you this job, but right now we're waiting for sign off on some projects. We don't want to employ you, and then you come in the office and sit down not doing nothing. Once those projects come to the door, we can assure you that we'll be taking you in. That went on for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And he called me to his office to come see the office and have a chat. We sat down in the office and we spoke. It was a beautiful company, engineering, not purely architecture, it was engineering. They did all those steel fabrications. They were even thinking of going into BIM. So in my head, I'm already thinking, wow, what a space. But it didn't work out because somehow they got to the recruiter and just apologized and all that. So I was back in the market, applying for jobs. And I got 2 interviews. The first one was for a BIM consultancy firm. And I think you guys should look into that as well. I think the BIM industry is really good right now, so you can also look into that. That was for a BIM consultancy firm. And they're telling me, okay, the interview went quite smoothly. And the guy said he's seen my work already. I don't need to go through my work. He's seen it already. He likes it. But all he wants to know is if I'm happy to deviate from architecture into BIM, which is modeling, engineering, just a different world. And I'm like, you don't know what's happening here. Like, this is, just give it to me. Just let me get my foot in the door. I'll figure it out. It's like, okay, good. Because we get guys that come in and after like 1 week, they say this is not for them and they run off. I'm like, I'll take it. So he sent me a contract, all the documents, I signed all that, and I'm like, yeah, I have one. I was already telling myself, why are you bothering yourself anymore? You already have one, you have a resumption day. Why are you bothering? Just leave it, like, relax, chill. You have a job now, you know? And somehow, something keep pushing, keep applying, just keep pushing it out. And then there was a job I saw that was like architectural technologist. And the job specifications were just, they were not for me. It was just for someone who's been in the industry for a while, has 3 years of UK experience, years of Revit, professional experience, hits the ground running. Those kind of language. When you see words like that, you'll be like, you start to doubt yourself. But I looked and I'm like, this one I can do, but this one no. But this one I can still do this one. I can still drag this one. Even if I don't get it at that moment, I can still talk to people. I can still go on YouTube. I think I can. So I called him. And that's the thing about having someone in your corner. I called him and he said, can you read out the job specification? And I did, I read it out. And it's like, okay, it looks interesting. It's a senior role. How do you feel about it? I'm like, yeah, it might be tough, but he said, okay, go for it then. Go for it. If you feel like there's a chance, go for it. I mean, even if you don't get it, you'll learn from the process. Yeah, so I applied. I feel like because I had one already, it gave me some sort of confidence. So even if the wage is low, take it. That does something to you. Take it. Might not be your only job, can go hustle elsewhere, but take that first one. It does. So I already had some confidence. So I was kind of like just playing around with this one, like I didn't really care. And so the interview date came, and I went to the office. I wasn't expecting what I saw because I've been on the website. nice company, but you know the websites, UK website, they're always very funny. They don't really do they don't really go, their websites here are not really like our Nigerian website, the way we detail and make it very nice, and you just see all the projects and you be enjoying. But they just had this one single page and not much going on. I'm like, but when I got to the office, I was like, wow. You know, that fear came on me again. I'm like, are you really here right now? You've not done your master's degree, you're here right now, really? And then they're like, oh, welcome, do you want tea? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Okay. And then let's just go in the conference room. And that was 6 directors sat around with me, and I was just there with my portfolio. And they were like, yeah, just run us through your projects. And so I started and blabbed around for about 20 minutes. But they were listening. And I asked for some water at some point because I think it was disbelief. It was disbelief first for me to be in that room. That was already a win. If you imagine I was coming from, my head was messed up, you know. And then when I finished, they were like, okay. Questions started coming in. And I was just answering them with, you know, there was a vibe with me that day. There was no fear. And I still think it was because I already had a job. I didn't have that fear. I was not timid. I was throwing questions back. We're having like a conversation. At the end of the day, they said, okay, so the company you work for right now, what do you do? So they had gone on my LinkedIn and seen his company and probably did some research. And they're like, do you employ only Nigerians? It's like, you have just Nigerians? I'm like, no. We have like Brits working with us as well. They're like, oh really? Yes. I'm like, we do retrofits, love conversions, some new builds, small projects and all that. And they're like, okay, why do you want to live there for us? And I told them, yeah, I'm looking for much bigger space, more challenging projects. And I think your company fits the bill. You get involved in lots of major residential builds. Just hype them a little bit. And they said, okay, you go home, we'll get back to you. And I left, I'm like, just forget about this once. I didn't know I did quite good. After like 2 weeks, I got a call for a practical test. To come back in for a practical test. They want to set me up on the system and give me a task to do. The recruiter called me and told me all that. I'm like, so what area are they going to test me on? What is it going to be like? She said, okay, she's going to ask them. And she drafted an email to them and they replied and said they didn't know. They don't know what they're going to be asking me to do, that I should just come. And they gave me 2 weeks. And I just went on YouTube to start to see if I could practice a few bits. But in my head, I'm like, what are you even going to, where are you going to start from? I know they're going to talk about technical detailing in Revit and all that kind of stuff, but are they going to go into AutoCAD? Are they going to go, you know? I didn't have an idea, but I did some bit of practice for the first few days until I just go, and whatever happens, happens. On the day of the interview, I felt like not going. I don't go and embarrass yourself. Like, it's not you, these things. Look at the thing. It's for a more senior person. I'm like, why are you? Just go. Are you a coward? Go. Whatever happens. So I went there and they saw me. I'm like, okay. Maybe they weren't expecting me. They set things up for me, set up the system, and they were like, printed 2 sheets with different tasks. And they said it's going to be purely Revit. They're talking about family creation. They're talking about some sort of modeling with different wall designs. So you have exterior walls with their specifications. You have interior walls with their specifications. You have some sort of partitioning walls with their specifications. You're going to use those specifications to model like a duplex. And they want to see how your walls join. They want you to call out those details of wall joints and just some. So I'm like, how much time? 1 hour. Do you understand this whole thing? I'm like, yeah, I can try. So they told me when I started working. And I would say this meeting him, you know, Nigerian walls now, we just model out, it's just block work now. But here you would have your bricks, you would have your insulation, you would have your air gaps, you would now have your block work. It's just something else. So I had to first of all create all these parameters first in Revit before even starting to model the building. So they were watching me. I think they had a screen watching what I was doing and my processes. I didn't finish the modeling. 1 hour was too short. And they came on like, how much more time do you need? I'm like, another hour. They were like, no, you're not going to stay here all day. We're going to give you 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, just do what you can, bro. You've done your best at least. You didn't embarrass yourself. You can model. And we got back in the office. They brought me back in the office after the whole task and set me up on the big screen and asked me to start walking them through how I went about doing what I did. And I started talking about everything. And they already knew what they were going to ask me. And as they were asking me, I was seeing the errors I made because it's high pressure environments. You're having wall joints and your internal walls are they're becoming external walls from the way they join. So as they were like, what do you think about this part? I'm like, oh, because you know these things, you do know them. I quickly made those changes quickly. As I was saying, what do you think? I'll make the changes. So it was quite like I was not just like, oh, I don't know. I kept trying. And even when they asked me questions I didn't know, I'll be like, okay, I'll try. I will just try on Revit. I'll still try. And somebody talked about topography, linking a AutoCAD, maybe a survey plan to Revit, and then creating a topo solid from it. I linked the file, didn't come into Revit because they have probably different origin points. But then I still explained to them how I would have done it because they themselves didn't try already if it was same coordinates. But we finished and they were like, okay, we'll get back to you. I left and I was punching the air. I'm like, what did I just go in for? Like, this is like crazy. But I knew I wasn't. I felt I wasn't gonna get it. There was someone else doing the interview already, and I'm like, you did okay, not too bad, bro. The experience was good. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the recruiter to say that, oh, I heard back from the company. They loved you, this and that. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is rejection again, isn't it? And she said they want to give you an offer. I'm like, what? They want to give you an offer. They know you got skills, but you're not there yet, so they're offering you this wage, give you training and skill you up to where you want to be and all that. I'm like, okay. She's like, so what do you think? Do you think you? I'm like, it's just yes. Just tell them yes. Just tell them yes. I'm taking it. So currently I have two job offers. I'm supposed to start the first one in September the 1st. I wish I could. Yeah. But I want to encourage everyone here. I mean, like someone told me before, you're not going to be 100% ready. As soon as you have a feeling, you just go out. Just go out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Say something. Yeah. I think about Jude, and that's one thing I always tell those that were with me for the training and everyone. It's not easy what Elizabeth has done, bringing you guys together. Because I tried it, I did the seminar in Nigeria, she was part of it. Although because of the internet in Nigeria wasn't too good, but we still did it. It was a lot of work, a lot of hard work. Bringing people together, trying to make them relevant in a new society where you're an architect in Nigeria. I also studied architecture in Nigeria, master's, everything, but once a year is a completely different ball game. Yeah. But they always give you that impression that it's different, you can't do it, you are not at the same level of education as them, but it's not true. You're better than them, you can do it. You understand? If you have that I can do attitude, which was one thing Jude had when he came to meet me, because I just came back from Nigeria then, and then he called me, so am I in the UK? I said, yeah, I just came back from Nigeria after that seminar. We met in here, we spoke. And one thing about him, which you guys need to pick up, and if you do it, and I told him then, if you can emulate that, it will take you places. You'll be surprised, and you look at it and say, wow, I came yesterday and look at where I am. And I told him, and that's my joy today, that he actually achieved the goal. Because even when I'm going to site, Portsmouth, this guy will wake up, come to Dartford, park somewhere, jump into my car, and we'll go together. Because I have to be at the meeting at 9 a.m. And you travel all the way from Canterbury. You know, and I saw that amongst all those who have been training, he was one of those who was very, very determined. He doesn't play with it. He's like, no, Mr. Anthony, don't worry, I'm coming. And he'll be there, he'll sort out his childcare and all that, and he's already in London. I mean, he's waiting for me. I'll pick him up, we'll go to site. He did that. We went to Ashford together, to a project site, you know. So that motivation, even at a point, he was getting discouraged. I guess that's the period where he's talking about, oh, he thought maybe he couldn't do it. And then those times I'll call him and say, Jude, it's like your motivation is going down. What's happening? you know, and he'd be like, sir, don't worry, I'm not gonna give up. I said, just keep trying, you know. And I'm happy because even when he called me, it was a Friday night, he called me and said, sir, I've got 2 job offers, I don't know which one to take. And he said, okay, no, you go for the senior role. I said, yeah, you're going for the senior role. Just like Elizabeth, myself, you can always reach us anytime. If you have questions, if you're on a job and you have a task that you can't do, just send a message. We'll be able to give you an answer. Because my own, my answers are always based on practical experience. And I always tell the guys that were with me, it's not theory, it's practical. Because I wanted to get to that place where everything I do is more practical. Because when you're in an office and you're just drawing, most of the offices you work for, they will not allow you to go to site. Probably just be sitting in the office. And I got fed up of that. It got to a point where the only company I worked with that even gave me that opportunity, you know, sometimes you get to site and the contractors on site will be telling you, this one, they don't know anything. I think they are just card monkeys now. They don't know how to put it together, you know. So when they say, oh, you don't know how to put it together, it means you don't have any practical knowledge. That's why I said, no, I need to go get that practical knowledge. So you guys, you've got an opportunity we never had. You need to make sure you use that opportunity. I was telling them in the class yesterday, there's a guy, Thomason, he studied at Unilag, he's also NI architect. Yeah, I came to the UK. I met him in Abuja when I relocated back to Nigeria in 2013. So when he came to the UK, he started working with me as well, just like the same way Jude had been. He'll go with me to my sites in Bolton, Swindon, you know, come back together. So he gained a lot of practical experience, but then he just got the first job and like, oh boy, he left me. Went to live in, he stays in Boston, close to Peterborough, and he started working there. And I said, Thomason, get chartered, you know, get chartered, because it gives you an edge than when you're just, oh yeah, you've got the experience, but if you're chartered, you still have that edge. He didn't listen, you know, he's like, sir, don't worry, I'll do it, you know. But today, he's calling, because now we've got so many people that we're mentoring. He's calling to say, oh, he wants to do it now, but he had that opportunity of that one-to-one, you know, but he didn't use it. So you guys have the opportunity, you have the connection, you have that access, you know, take advantage of it to get you where you're going to. Because it's not going to be there forever. We may end up, maybe Elizabeth goes somewhere else, I go somewhere else, and we're unreachable, you know, and then you're like, oh, I wish we could have this opportunity again. We may not get this chance where we're all sitting in the same room. So please, everyone, take advantage of the opportunity you have. I know that you guys are here because you know the value. There are a lot more people. I think, Elizabeth, you got about 60.
62.
See, out of the 60, how many of you are here? So you end up knowing the value of what you are after, you know? My own students are a lot. I've got a WhatsApp group of about 290 people, and they reduced to about 267. Many of them are in Nigeria. They also want to be, you know, and all that. But amongst all of them, including the ones that Jude is the only one here now. Do you understand? Some of them couldn't come, like the other guy was talking about, Damilari. You know, so please take advantage of this opportunity. It's our joy. For me, it's my joy that he's settled now. You know, but I keep telling him it's just the beginning. Don't say, oh, I've got a good job now, that's the end of it. Go and get chartered, and you open more doors for you. You understand? Get the knowledge and get the experience and get chartered. So please, everyone, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. We caught up with time and we overtook time. We were supposed to have tea break, water break, snacks. So that's what we're going to have now. And we're going to match the games. The program wasn't the original program didn't include. Oh, this man has not. We don't know this man.
Can you tell us?
Who are you?
Well, just to make it brief. Just to make it brief. Thank you, everyone. Two things. Thank you for your patience. To be honest, one thing that